Hello and welcome to another episode of Nothing Definitive. I'm Sam Carlson, and today I want to talk about reward versus punishment-based learning. Alright, and first it starts with dogs. So there are basically, there are basically two schools of thought with dog training. There's the Cesar Millan punishment-based methods, and then there's like the more what I would call scientific-based, reward-based learning. Probably shouldn't have said based twice there, but oh well. Reward versus punishment. So I would consider the easy way of training your dog to be punishment-based. It's very immediately effective. In the short term, it's like noticeable. You can obviously see, like, if dog is doing something bad and I hit dog, then dog stops doing bad thing. That's basically like Neanderthal logic that goes into it. Now, I don't want to like shit on Caesar. He's obviously very skilled with what he does, and he definitely takes it much further than that. He does this whole like pack leader aggressive style, like just being like the dominant leader that the dog looks to basically realize if its behavior is good or bad or whatever. But I still think that's very simple. It's very basic, and I don't think in the long term it's as effective or as like good as reward-based learning. Now, reward-based learning is where you take that same dog and rather than punishing it for things it does badly, you reward it for things that it does goodly. And this basically requires you to, carry around treats or something like that. And conversely, if the dog does do something bad, I guess there's probably two choices there. It depends like what they're doing. If they're doing something really bad, like they're about to bite someone or they're like pooping on your rug or something, you might have to like physically move the dog outside or physically restrain the dog or something. I think that's more of like a common sense approach to like, you have to intervene in some way. But there is also like dogs are very interested in your attention, just like like a small child. Children and lots of animals and stuff like that are interested in like attention from their parents and stuff like that. If a dog is like say jumping on you or it's going wild because you just got home or something, it can be really effective to just ignore it. Do not look at it. Do not just pretend it's not even in existence. The dog will eventually calm down, and that's when you go in and you pet it and you show it affection and stuff. That what the dog is learning is that when I act wildly, I am ignored, versus when I sit nicely and look at my owner or my leader or whatever, however they interpret it, then I get petted, I get a treat, whatever. So that's basically the difference. There's reward and punishment based. Punishment obviously would have been I came in the door, the dog's jumping on me, and I kicked it away, or or I grabbed it and threw it to the side, or hit it, or whatever. Punishment based. It's short term. It's very effective. I mean, if you hit the dog and it feels pain because of it, it's not going to jump on you. Yes, you're absolutely right. But is that really? I mean, because this same sort of thinking is what I think we should apply to how we deal with people in our education system. I mean, if you came home and your kid was all excited to see you, would you hit your kid because they're annoying you? Because they're, dogs are a physical living creature, and to hit it shows, I think, a lot about who you are as a person. Like, you just easily resort to violence because you're slightly aggravated at this animal that has no understanding. I mean, don't think of it as like, oh, it's just something we do. You are inflicting pain on another living creature. I mean, if you think there's something right with that, that says a lot about you as a person. So I strongly urge you to, like, if you have a dog, to try this reward-based learning. Now, in the short term, this will be much more ineffective. It's very, unless it's a puppy, um, it's going to be very, like, it's a long term kind of a game you're playing with reward based. But I think ultimately your dog is going to be a lot happier because you're not hitting it. You're treating it kind of like with respect and stuff like that. And you're constantly rewarding it for good behavior. I mean, if I was a dog, I probably would love to constantly be getting, small treats. I took a dog psychology class in college, and the professor there, he always just kept, he had like a little, like I think he had a nanny, or what are those called? The little pack you wear on the front. Um, but he, you could carry around like a Ziploc full of, he had little smoked hot dogs so they wouldn't go bad, and he chopped them into fourths. They were really tiny treats, but he gave them out constantly for good behavior. And what the dog learned was, I want to act in a certain way because it constantly involves reward. I think it's very rational, very logical, and it's just makes everyone happier. I mean, do you enjoy hitting your dog? It probably makes you feel worse because the dog's like, what the fuck, man? Like, I was all happy to see you, and now you just struck me. Like, that can't make anyone feel good on both sides. Okay, so that's the dog side of that. Now let's talk about the education system. I think this could be highly effective with people as well. We have a system that is punishment based. When we have, our school children, they come to school, they get homework, and then if they don't do their homework, they do it wrong, they do it poorly or whatever, they're more or less punished by getting bad grades, and then the bad grades, eventually go home, and then the parents probably punish them as well, further compounding it. Kids are constantly yelled at for stuff like, stop having fun, basically, because, as an adult, I recognize the dangers in what you're doing or whatever, so I'm going to yell at you or whatever. Conversely, we could reward children for positive behavior, like, you did poorly on your homework, so you don't get something. Like, you get, or say there's 30 minutes for lunch. If you do really well in school, maybe you get 45 minutes. A lot of people would probably want that, so they would try harder because they would want to have lunch. Same with behavior, like if you're, in clubs and stuff, that could result in more reward or whatever. I mean, the actual specifics behind it we don't have to work out right now, but just as a concept, I think that could be highly, highly effective. And I'll probably have a future episode talking more about the education system because I have a lot of gripes with it. But just as part of the changes I think we should have, it is this reward and versus punishment. So really think about it. If you have a dog, I highly suggest trying out this method. You can read about it online though, because you may get frustrated and it just won't work. Like, I think you either can do the short-term easy thing and just be aggressive and hit your dog and stuff like that, or you can spend a little bit less time, say, watching television, like 15 or 30 minutes a day, and just educate yourself about how to train dogs properly, and you can learn all sorts of great stuff. So please consider it. Think about it, how it might apply to people and our education system. And yeah, stick around for future episodes. Thanks for listening.